Hey everyone, I am here with another bookish video which is books recommendations for beginners. I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while now because so many people texted me on Instagram and asked me about book recommendations for people who want to get into reading but find it hard to do so. So I handpicked some of my personal favorite books. When you're a beginner reader, you want very specific kind of books that will hook you from the very start and keep you engrossed till the very end. And I made sure that I select books that met the very same criteria, because if you're a beginner, you can't start with classics because classics require a very specific attention span. Like, I'm not sure I have developed that kind of span yet. Right, so I'm going to start with the very basic, which is The Silent Patient. This book is a hit or miss for so many people. People either love it or hate it with passion. The text is easy to read, it will keep you engrossed and intrigued till the very end. The characters are all really sophisticated and they keep you guessing what will happen to them and what will happen to the story. I actually remember reading this book till 2 a.m. I had a school day the next day, but I did not care about my academics at all. I was so interested by this book. And when I finished this book, I stared at the wall for a good 25 minutes. I was that shocked by the ending. It had a very good plot twist, like a plot twist that you will never see coming, especially if you're a beginner reader. Because after a while, when you have read enough thrillers, you kind of get the gist of what the author is going to do. But as a beginner, you will not see what is going to happen. So yeah, give this one a try. If you're a beginner reader, you will not be disappointed. Trust me. While we're at it, I want to flex about another thing. I actually have a signed copy of this book. Like, the author has signed it and it is one of my favorite books. So it is just one of my most treasured possessions ever. Showing you guys the sign because I want to flex properly. Yeah. Moving on to the next book is 13 by Steve Kavanaugh. This book is my all-time favorite. Like, no book can top this book. I loved it so much, and I read it till 4 a.m. in the morning. This book has a record that no book will ever be able to break. I loved this book because it was so different. It was from perspective of a serial killer, and I have never read anything like this. I recommend this book to everybody that I have ever met and will meet in the future. I loved it so much. It is one of those rare books that take you by surprise. It is just really interesting, and the fact that it was from perspective of a villain just made it so much more interesting and engrossing. Totally in love with this book, and I'm going to reread it soon. If you personally know me and if you want to read a book and it is not this book, we cannot be friends. Simple as that. Right, moving on to our third book, we have ouch. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is one of my favorite books because it is so easy to read, and it just kept me guessing till the very end, so that was a plus point. So definitely read this book. I think it's a really nice book for beginners. It has everything that a beginner is looking for in a book. Suspense, good characters, moral dilemma, so many amazing things. Definitely give this one a try. Everybody that I recommended this book to, and everybody who actually was nice enough to read it on my recommendation, loved it, and you will too. So yeah. So the third book is Six of Crows. I talked about this book in my previous video as well. One of my most favorite duology ever. So this is set in the same world as Shadow and Bone, but you don't have to read that in order to understand this. I personally read Shadow and Bone before Six of Crows because I like to do everything in a very systematic way. But you don't have to. The characters are the sole purpose people should read these books. So we have a group of rebellious, outcast teenagers. They go on a heist, and the characters are terrible. They have no moral compass, but that is what makes them best fantasy characters ever. This book is funny, it is sad, it is interesting. It has everything that a book should have. And I don't see any reason why people should not read this book. Give this one a try. So another flex coming right up. I have a hardcover and special edition of this book, and just look at how pretty it is. Like, just admire it, guys. I've been admiring it for so long. Like, whenever I come in my room, I just look at the bookshelf and I see this book sitting here. I'm like, girl, you're so pretty. This edition also has illustrations in the end. It also has a pretty map. Like, look at this. Such a plus point of this book. And we have character illustrations. So yeah, one of my favorite fantasy books ever. And I don't think any fantasy book will ever be able to take its place. Right, moving on towards the next book. It is my all-time favorite book, and I know at this point I'm calling every book my all-time favorite book, but it is true, guys. All the books that I have handpicked are some of the most amazing piece of literature that I have ever read. Okay, so it is Light as a Feather. This book took me by surprise. I just randomly picked it from this sale that was happening in Liberty Books. around 2 years ago, and this book ended up becoming one of my favorite books ever. So this book is about a group of teenager girls. They play a slumber party game, light as a feather, stiff as a board, at a party. That game ends up in murders and supernatural stuff. It is paranormal thriller, so it has supernatural stuff. It has like ghosts and murders and friendship and curses, so many amazing things in one book. This is a very interesting book. If you're not a reader and do not plan on becoming so anytime soon, this book also has a series adaptation on Hulu, like a very amazing series. I watched it around 2 years ago. So yeah, book and series both are really nice. So by the way, guys, this is a trilogy. It is not a single book. We have two more books in the series. But even if you don't want to read the next two books and just want to stick with the first one, that is okay as well. Moving on towards the last book, we have Six Crimson Cranes. Ouch, I'm holding it upside and down. Six Crimson Crane is a very fluffy and light fantasy book. This is actually kind of the book that when you're stressed out and you want to read something that will take all the stress, all the worries away, this is the kind of the book that will do that for you. I remember reading this around December or January 2022. And I just remember that I had a competition coming up. It was a Model United Nations conference. It was my first MUN that I was going to attend, and I was so stressed out. And I was like, I'm going to leave everything and read for a little while. And I picked this book up, and it took all my stress and my worries away. I will always have a special place for this book in my heart. Yeah. So guys, I'm not giving you guys very long descriptions of the book because like I mentioned in my previous video, I want to keep my YouTube videos short for now. So if you want to know more about what the book is about, you can go on Google or on Goodreads. You can find all the information about the book there. But on the other hand, you can just trust me and purchase that book and start reading, because I have impeccable taste, guys. You will not be disappointed by my taste in books. But seriously, on a serious note, these are the books that I handpicked, and I know for sure that you guys will like them. Alright, so that is it for this video. I hope you guys like the recommendations that I give. Yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.